coming out with it. It's pretty good.
Putting SR in it.
I'm cutting that out. He's been saying that all day. The freaking, what do you call it? Going into the, what do you call it? And then it goes in. I'm wrecked, mate. Hey guys, welcome back to another episode. On this one's the Valentine's Day special. Me and the missus are going to be spending the day working on the S13, but she's going to be up at the house, so it's just me.
Tell me, is it whack up in the air? Rapping scattered off the gear. I can map him, yeah, the years like a tracker. Get distracted, send him back like in the mail. Not a fraction of them real. Catch him lacking, run the drill. Running through the shit like a motherfucking day.
Alright, cool. So today, hopefully, in this episode, we can get the S13 running again. I don't know if that's a big stretch, but what we have to do is a rear main seal. So to get to your rear main seal, you will need to remove your gearbox. And depending on your conditions, you're probably going to be on the ground. If you have a hoist, you're as lucky as me. But if you're on the ground, it's going to be a bitch. So get ready for a shit job. And you remove your gearbox. Get that out the way. So on the Ls1, you have a backing plate, which is this, and the rear main seal, which is that black circle in center. That seal is a piece of shit, and basically it's leaking. And also it could be leaking out of the back of this plate through that gasket. So what I've done, I've gone down the shops and I've bought the new gasket and new rear main seal, which is the black circle there, and we're going to be installing that in here. So the first thing to do is to remove this, remove the old rear main seal, which I've been having trouble with, but I'm going to get that out just now, and then clean this up, put the new gasket on the back of here, a bit of glue down at the bottom here, and there's two screws that go up through the sump, which is this bottom section. They go up through here and screw into there and pull this plate down, and then that'll line us up good so that we can get the rear main seal in there. There is a special tool that you can buy to align the rear main seal, but it is $110 or so in Australia. In America it's a bit cheaper because they're made there, but anyway, and LS1s and whatnot. But you don't actually need it, apparently. We're going to find out if it leaks or not. So yeah, we're just going to send it without the tool, and yeah, fingers crossed that it seals, because this thing was pissing out oil out the back of here, and it's never a good time. We've got Matsuri coming up, so we want it to be all nice. And yeah, I'm going to fix this for Zara, even though she didn't break it. I break it because I always break it and I drive it. But hopefully, a lot of you guys have been asking, since she's had the baby, is she going to be out drifting again? Hopefully soon. Yeah, we're going to take turns and she's going to be out drifting again. We're just going to be sick. But in the meantime, I'm going to let her do a few skids out the backyard. So hopefully that's all in this episode. Don't know how much time we're going to have, but let's smash this out and yeah, get some fun stuff happening. Just a quick thanks to all you guys that have joined. I really appreciate you guys. Hey, like it's getting a bit crazy now. A lot of you guys are joining, and yeah, welcome. And yeah, make sure you hit the like button, drop a comment, and if you haven't, subscribe on every single video. Do those things, and yeah, let's go. Pretty keen. Hopefully the light's on my face because it's pretty dark under here. Alright, so there's two ways to get this out. First way is if the backing plate is still on the engine and you're just trying to get the rear main seal out, then there's a special spike tool. You can use a spike tool, it goes in the seal and then pulls it out, or you can spike it, screw a screw into it and then lever it out or hammer it out with a slide hammer. If you're taking the backing plate off like me, we've got the easy option of just getting like a punch, and just there's a lip on here that you can smack and it will just pop it straight out. I've already done it, so it should come out nice and easy. There you go. And then yeah, obviously you want to put it on a surface that is flat and with a hole in it, which is this one. And there you go. Goodbye. Boom. That's that one done. So yeah, I'm just going to clean this up and get the new one in there. Alright, so I've got the back plate on. That's not too difficult. The bottom bolts under here going up into the sump, you want to do them up at 9 foot-pound, and the top ones here are 11. So make sure they're all done up, and yeah, put a bit of glue in the corners at the bottom here so that that seals up, and fingers crossed it doesn't leak. So now we're onto the rear main seal. Comes like this. it says on here which way it needs to go in. So it says this side out on this piece here. You can't see it, it's super small. But if you read that, it'll say this side out. You just line it up onto your crank. It's got this plastic thing that helps you. You just sit that on your crank, and then you tap in the rubber seal around with a rubber mallet, and like ideally something the same size as the rubber to push it in evenly. So I'm going to do that now. So I just need to push that all the way in, and then, yeah, probably not the best way of doing it. I just need a perfect size circle that'll fit on there that I can tap in there to get it all nice. It'd be good if they give you like a tool that was the right size. Alright, so I went and found myself a pipe that's not flat at all. It'd be handy if it was flat, or if I had a saw that would cut it perfectly flat, but anyway. I put this around there. Turns out it's like the exact right size, so any downpipe, Australian size, whatever downpipe this is, boom. Bit of tappy, and then yeah, make sure it pushes all the way in, and you're good. And yeah, you want it to be sitting all the way in like that. It actually sits past this edge, so in a little bit. And yeah, hopefully she is not gonna leak. Looking a lot cleaner than when we first started. Yeah, not gonna lie, this is my first ever rear main seal, but it isn't anything too complicated, so anyone could really do it. As long as you have the time and energy, and you really wanna do it, you can do it. On the ground, obviously it's gonna be a lot harder. I'm freaking so happy that I have a hoist for this kind of a job, because I can just stand here and just piss around. But anyway, that is done. Hopefully all good. And yeah, time to put the gearbox back in. I'm pretty sure there's nothing else to do. I'll make sure there's nothing else to do, and then I'll put the gearbox back on, which is gonna be hard. But just had a bit of a tidy up of the workshop, and things are a little bit nicer now. The oil's gone. We've cleaned up the belt housing, the gearbox has had a squash, and we've got the new clutch here, rebuilt from Direct Clutch. These guys are freaking awesome in Brisbane, Albion. Yeah, so refurbished the clutch for me and machined the flywheel. Now we're good to go. New throwout bearing. We'll whack that one on to here, put some grease on there, install the clutch and the flywheel, and then we'll lift the gearbox up and it will just slide straight in there beautifully. Okay, I've just discovered something so freaking cool that I really wish I knew before. So with this LS1 slave cylinder, but the clutch, it's inside here, so you can't get to it and you can't touch it later on. But there's this bleeder nipple here that usually you can get a spanner in here nice and easy and crack off and let the air out while it's in the car. But on the S13, the chassis is so freaking tight that you cannot get to it. But look at this, that hole there is where the nipple will sit, and this here, which I just discovered, I was like, what the heck is this white thing? It's a bloody hole through into the cabin there, so you can poke a spanner in there and you can crack it off while the gearbox is in the car, like, and that just sits there like that. And I freaking wish I knew that so much before, holy shit. I'm so glad that I discovered it, because I was thinking, I was literally just had a plan. I was like, alright, I can't bleed this very well at the moment, I'm having problems. What I'm going to do, I'm going to put a hole in the freaking car, and so I can get my spanner onto it like this. Where did I put that spanner? So I can get my spanner onto it like that, and then you can get another spanner on this and use that and crack it that way, and then tighten it again. And I was like, I'm going to measure where to put a hole in the car so that I can get to it when it's in the car. And then I got the bell housing off and I chucked it up there, and I'm like, you got to be shitting me. They've already put a hole in there ready to go for me. So see, you learn something new every day. The guys that built this car were actually onto it, so that's good. Next time, that was a lot of mucking around with the throwout bearing, just trying to figure out what I was going to do, because you don't want to be pulling it back out again. So that's good to go, and we can worry about that later. Next up is the clutch. Bolt the flywheel up in here. That's just sitting there, I'll take that back off. Bolt the flywheel on, put the clutch on, put the pressure plate on, and then slide the gearbox onto that. Happy days. Alright, so there's a few ways you can do this to tighten up these. You could just go hand with a rattle gun, not recommended. Make sure you put some Loctite on here, and then if you screw a bolt into the flywheel and then another bolt into your engine and put a spanner across, it'll hold, because this is going to spin as you turn it, and it will try and spin, which is connected to the crank. So you got to be careful which method you do. You can do this one, it's easy as. You just chuck a bolt in there and put a spanner in, and it works really well. You could also get a big screwdriver and chuck it in the teeth here and wedge it against something, and then it can't move, but it is like more risk of breaking something. So this way it works pretty good. I did learn that on the internet, so I'm not taking any credit for that one. But yeah, torque these up to 74 foot-pound, and now we're moving on to the clutch. This one looking all pretty. Alright, clutch is in. If you want to see like a better video on how to actually put the clutch in, I have another video that I'll put a link in where we put the clutch on last time, and it shows a bit more in depth of what happens. But basically the way a clutch works, if you don't know, you have your throwout bearing, and it pushes, when you push your clutch in, it pushes pressure onto here, onto these fins, and that pushes onto these springs and actually releases the clutch plate, and then that can, it disengages it so that it's not touching the flywheel, so it's not driving your wheels. And when you're drifting and you're clutch kicking the shit out of it, this area gets absolutely thrashed because it's just going off and on, off and on, off and on, just gripping and twisting and gripping and heating up and just getting an absolute hiding. So these things do so well to be able to stand that. Drifting's definitely, like, probably definitely easily the most hiding a clutch will get, especially like the freaking low-end NA cars that are just clutch kicking the shit out of it constantly. The high-end power, they don't need to clutch kick as much, but yeah, these things do well for the way they work. So direct clutch, yeah, hit them up if you need one. Freaking awesome. I love the red as well, looks super fast. But yeah, and then you whack your alignment tool in here, and then you slide it out like so. So that holds the clutch disc centered, because this end goes into the bearing inside your crank, and it holds it center while you bolt it down and put pressure evenly, and then it holds it in the center there. Yeah, so now we screw the bell housing on up there, and then we lift the gearbox up and slide it straight in, nice and easy. It will just slot straight in, believe me. Done. All done. Alright, so I got it to this position here. I've just got a balance there. And what I have to do now, which is the hardest freaking part. So you've got to line up, this spline here has to go in through there and then line up with the freaking spline on the clutch, and then go into the freaking crank, and there's a little spline on there as well just to make it double tricky. So yeah, this is a good spot where we are. It's definitely in a good spot. It's just I almost freaking lost it when I was just trying to get the clutch line around here, and I almost lost the freaking thing. So I've got to lift the front of it and lift the front, and then use the foot pedal to jack the back up at the same time, and push forward and slide it straight in. Just slip it straight in. This is a big ass bloody gearbox, eh? I've got the screws in my pocket ready to go. Just need to get it into position now. And Jesus, this is hectic. that was freaking big effort. It's not in yet. It's most of the way. There's like freaking 10mm gap. That's just like the last little bit. Like this, the freaking, what do you call it? Going into the, what do you call it? And then it goes in. I'm wrecked, mate. I'm wrecked. I'm going home for the night. I'll catch you tomorrow. This is how close we are. Last little bit. Alright, so we're back. The gearbox is in. Massive thanks to Xavier and Dad for helping out with that. And the mine site. Look at you, dirt all, dust and dirt all over you.
I don't know how to work on cars and not get covered in shit.
Yeah. It just happens, eh? So yeah, it turns out I didn't align the clutch disc properly because I didn't have the tool all the way in. That's a good tip. Push the tool all the way in and make sure it's like centered. And then so we had to pull that back out, loosen the clutch off, put it all back in there. But yeah, she's in. And then even then, we still couldn't get it all the way in by pushing it, and we had to put bolts in it and then like squeeze it in because the dowels up there were getting in the way. But yeah, happy that that's done. So that's the first time the gearbox has come out, and I'm going back in again without the engine coming out with it. Pretty good.
Putting SR on it.
I'm cutting that out. He's been saying that all day. But I would hate to do this at the track, and I was kind of hesitant to just say that because if that happens, I'm not going to have a good time, eh?
Oh yeah. No.
I will legit probably cry. I would probably cry if that.
So just get your mates to push it off the trailer.
I'll just, yeah, nah. Come. I'll just like get the RB out and chuck it in here. It'll be way faster. Or borrow someone else's car. So yeah, now we're just gonna chuck the exhaust on and hook up the clutch line, put the bloody engine back together. There's bits and pieces off it, like the spark plug leads and that. And then hopefully we can start it.
Bleed clutch?
Bleed the clutch, yeah. I was avoiding the topic, but. So yeah, let's do those things and then start her up.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, boy.
King.
Then we'll do a skid. Alright, so after a couple more hours after I last did an update, Xavier has been in here smashing everything out, done the engine mounts, the exhaust is on, we bled the clutch. Oh, I gotta show you something actually, I gotta show you something. So this was actually hectic. We were bleeding the master cylinder from this nipple here that you would have seen on one of the other episodes, and we bled it so much when we got to a point where there was air still in it. And then we tried out the new discovery that I recently discovered. There's that white, there's like a white little plug right there. You pop that off, you can actually fit an 11mm spanner, deep socket, in through that access hole, and it gets you into the gearbox. And then we could crack it off and bleed the slave cylinder while the gearbox is in the car, in an S chassis. It's freaking sick, eh? That's so good.
It's the proper
And
lifesaver.
it's actually good because I've been putting off, there's this like relocation kit, so you can like relocate the little valve, the bleeder nipple, out, but it's like a couple $100. So I've been like putting it off, and then now I don't even need it.
That's sick.
So good. And yeah, shitloads of air came out of there, and now it's nice and tight, and she's mint. She's all good. So now we're gonna hopefully start it up, and it goes first time, go outside, move it back and forward, and just make sure it all works.
Street skids.
Exciting. Hashtag excited.
Yeah. there?
Felt close. Well, the clutch works so good now. Alright, so the S13 is now living under the house because I need the space for Xavier's S13 on the hoist. He's building an exhaust system, which you'll probably see on an episode coming up. And yeah, he's getting ready for Matsuri. Just a bit out of breath, just freaking ran up from down the shed. But yeah, make sure if you like this episode, hit the like button, drop a comment, and subscribe to the channel. Just like that, that's how you do it.